Hey there, it's me, John Park. Welcome to John Park's workshop. How are you doing today? Good? Can I pretend to hear you? The people in the chat are doing good. Welcome. Welcome everybody in our chats. Everyone out there watching too. We got people in Discord, and I'm going to go and log into the scene over on YouTube so I can see what's going on there. Let's see, how do I convince this thing to show me the latest videos? Stand by. Some refreshing is necessary when trying to view your own live stream on YouTube with a delay without going bonkers. Hey, Andy Calloway, you've made it to JP's workshop. Excellent. Good. All right, I'm going to pop out this chat, and then let's get going. You all know about the pop-out chat in YouTube? I like it. Gives you a nice big chat window instead of that weird little thing. All right, so let's see. I'm back to broadcasting at 1080p today and crossing fingers because we've been having degraded bandwidth problems. Oh, good. All right, I'm going to tweak my audio a little bit and let me know when I've gone too far. We got C. Grover in the chat over on Discord who's checking the audio levels for me. Thank you. What was I saying? I've lost my mind. Oh, so I'm also recording this locally on my machine to disk. So if the if the live stream goes horribly wrong with bandwidth, try to stick in there. I'll restart it occasionally, but I will also, if it's really bad, later upload a clean copy to YouTube. So we'll have that as well. All right, well, let's see. The first thing I wanted to talk about today is a reminder that we have kicked off our job board. Ooh, I'm dangerously peaky. All right, I'm going to drop that down a little. So jobs.adafruit.com, that is our jobs board, and I can pull it up right now. Let's see, where did I make a, thought I made a thing. There we go. It's a little cut off there. That's our jobs board if you go to jobs.adafruit.com, and you can see here we've got a bunch of big blue buttons, and look, there's jobs. So if you're interested in looking for work, either full-time, part-time contract work, or if you are a company or an individual looking to find some talent to work on something, head on over to jobs.adafruit.com. It is free for everyone, free to post jobs and free to post your own resume and skills. In fact, I've posted my own on there. I don't have a lot, I don't have a lot of details on there, but if you want to try to hire me for something, I don't know, give it a shot. Who knows? It's brand new. Actually, we've had a jobs board before, but this iteration of it is brand new, and we're excited to offer this out to the whole maker, engineer, Adafruit community and companies. So check that out. Now, the next order of business is, check this out, it is our coupon code for today. So, I don't know if you knew this, but we sell stuff at Adafruit. We've got a store. And in that store is a whole bunch of great stuff. Microcontrollers, wires, buttons, sensors, Raspberry Pis, t-shirts, books, all kinds of amazing stuff. If you're a maker or a builder or a tinkerer, an inventor, an engineer, go to the store and check it out. And this coupon code will get you 10% off in the store today. It's good until midnight, I think East Coast midnight. And that coupon code is CANVAS, C-A-N-V-A-S, CANVAS. That'll get you 10% off in the store. Speaking of the store, it's time for the product of the week. And the product of the week this week, oh, did I update the image? I don't know if I did. Ooh, I did not, but that's okay because I can go to this web page instead. And there it is anyway. The product of the week is the, oh, can you see that? Yeah, you can sort of see that. Scroll that. There you go. It's the thermal camera feather wing. So this is a super cool feather wing, and I have only, as you can see, I've only just gotten it. You can see my purchase history on the browser there. I ordered that on the 10th of October because I didn't have one and I wanted to try it out. And this is what it looks like. Move this out of the way. And I have attached it to the back of my hollow wing, and I've also got a big battery on there. So I'm going to turn on this hollow wing, and what you'll see is you can measure the heat temperature of things in this room. So if I kind of angle it that way and down a little bit, I think my hand is getting in the way, or my battery, cooler things. Let's see if my iced coffee, all right, so here you can see that's pointing at me, so we're getting a lot of IR off of me and my head. And now I'm going to move my iced coffee in there. Oh, look at that. Iced coffee. You can see why I would like to drink that. It is delicious and it is cool. Thank you, Dastells, in the chat. He said, this is pretty cool. No pun. No, it is a really cool sensor. What are some of the facts on this thing? I think it's a 8x8 grid of infrared sensors, so you get 64 points of individual temperature data. I'm just running a slightly modified version of one of the examples that we have in the Learn Guide for this sensor. And I just modified it so that it would run on the hollow wing, which was maybe changing 3 lines of code just to use this TFT display that's built onto the hollow wing instead of that one that was on that project. But go check out that super cool feather wing, the camera sensor, and you can, or IR sensor, you could use that for testing for hotspots on things like engines and 3D printers, and if you're diagnosing things, you can adjust the range of sensitivity to output in the band that you're looking for. So that's easy to change in the code. So that is the product of the week. And don't forget, you can go get 10% off of that if you are so inclined today with the code CANVAS. All right, so I think it's time for the Make Code Minute. And for the Make Code Minute today, I wanted to do something a little bit different. This was a request from one of our forum members, C. Grover. He said he thinks there's been some confusion about how you can move a make code program onto a Circuit Playground Express that has an Arduino or a CircuitPython program running on it already. So as you may know, you can run all 3 of those different programming languages on the Circuit Playground Express. So I'm going to pull up my Circuit Playground Express right here. And right now, if I press the little reset button, that is running a sketch that I wrote in Arduino. So imagine we have a board, Circuit Playground Express, it's got Arduino code running on it. What do we do if we want to put make code on it? So here is my make code, and all this program does is cycle the colors in kind of a color wheel type of way. So if I hit download here, and I've already pre-downloaded, if I hit download here, and then head on over to my Finder, or this could be Windows Explorer, if I want to move that make code program onto a Featherwing that, or rather a Circuit Playground Express that has a Arduino sketch running on already, I'm going to just double click this button. So when I double click it, that puts it into bootloader mode. And what you'll see is in my Finder, now this thing cplay boot just showed up. Now I can drag the program. This is the make code program that I downloaded, Circuit Playground Color Spin UF2. I'm just going to drag that onto my Circuit Playground Express, and now you'll see my Circuit Playground Express is running that color wheel program that I made inside of make code. So you'll notice if you press the button once when you're in make code, you can get back to the bootloader. I'll press it a second time, and now I'm back to running that UF2. So that's the main difference. When you're in Arduino, double click and the bootloader comes up. Now you can drag on your make code program onto your Circuit Playground Express. And that is your make code minute. All right. I hope you find that helpful, or some people from the future, when we post that standalone make code minute, will find that helpful. And I should mention, if you are going then back to Arduino, it's the same process. You want to get to the bootloader. So you're always trying to get to the bootloader. It's just how many clicks get you to the bootloader. That's the thing that changes. So right now, since I have this, here, I'll pop it back up. It's a little extra after the minute thing. So this is running make code right now. If I, that was a double click. If I single click it, now that's ready for an Arduino program to go onto it. That will show up in the Arduino IDE as a USB device that you can drag or save a file to, or upload a file to. Thank you, C. Grover. It says easy, the future thanks you, and thank you for the suggestion. And I'll put this out there. If you have suggestions on anything you'd like to see on John Park's workshop, but in particular, make code minutes, or make codes minute, let me know. And we can figure out a good time to show something you're interested in within the 2.5 minute time frame of the make code minute. So there you go. That's the after the minute. That's the bonus stuff for sticking around. All right, so now it's time to talk about the project of the week. So the project of the week this week, let's head over, actually I'm gonna head over to the workbench, pop some different cameras in here for you. How about that and that? I'm bringing my coffee with me. By the way, I found the thermal camera really useful in realizing that my hot glue gun was on, because I had it on the workbench and I was moving it around. I saw something red and I was like, oh, how about that? I think I left that on. So I'm going to turn that off. I don't need that on anymore. Pause for iced coffee. It started to get fall-like here in Southern California, and then it bailed, and now it's hot again. So this is what I'm calling, let me unplug it here, the tiny museum tour device. So this is a little picture frame that's worthy of hanging or setting on a little easel to set on your desk if you like. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and then we'll talk about how it's made. So I turn this on, and when it boots up, it's going to describe the painting. Get my head out of the camera there. And now I'm going to try to, let me zoom this in actually. Oh, hey, how about that? Hold on one second. I just realized that green screen Circuit Playground Express is still hanging around. What's that doing there? Get out of the picture, man. Phew, okay. All right, so let me try to angle this so you can see the screen. Well, see that? There we go. I don't know if it wants to focus. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just going to touch the side of the frame. And it's going to switch to the next painting. Here we go. Pronunciation was a little hard there for the computer. All right, so you can see the idea. In fact, I can also go backwards. See that Fragonard again. Fragonard, by the way, was a huge impact on the lighting design for the movie Tangled. Little known fact. Maybe that's known. I don't know. So what do we have in here? I'm going to turn this off so it doesn't keep talking at us. So this is a little picture frame with a Hallowing M0 Express mounted inside of it with a battery and a speaker. And then I have a couple of wires running out to some copper tape on the sides so that you can trigger the forward and the back. And this is running CircuitPython 4.0.0.2, the latest alpha cut, which has image slideshow library built into it. So it is very easy to build these types of slideshows that can play and autoplay and pause and reverse and play music while it's, or sounds while it's displaying images. So that is all there is to it. Let me talk, however, about how I built this little frame for it, because I thought this was kind of a nice technique that people might want to consider. This was started off with one of these. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. One of these canvases that you can get at a hobby store. So it's a little painting canvas, stretched canvas, that's on a little wood frame, and it happens to have a magnet backing in it. I'm not using that. If you can get it without, you won't need it, but that's what I happened to get. And I'll make a quick and dirty one, because these are actually pretty inexpensive, and I bought a few. So let's make a quick and dirty one to show as an example of how that was built. So I ended up making a little guide for myself so that I could center and cut out a square in the middle. It's actually not quite a square. I think it's 30 by 35 millimeters is the size of the frame, or rather the TFT display. And I'm just eyeballing this here, but you can draw a couple of diagonals with a ruler to get centered, or you can actually do this on the other side, which is easier to get a square in there. So this is just going to be a quick and dirty one. I should use a ruler or a straight edge, but I'm just going to freehand that. Now you could make this just a little smaller than the TFT on the top and the bottom, because the TFT has some gaps on the Hallowing. Let me grab a fresh Hallowing. I'm going to actually use the one that I showed you before that has the thermal imaging camera on it. That'd be kind of a neat frame. So here I'm going to just pop this through. There, like so. And that canvas is kind of nice and flexible, so you can squish it down around. And there you go. So now we've just revealed our screen, and you can see you can wiggle it around and get it straight. So it's actually okay if your square isn't perfect to start with. And so then what I needed to do was get this thing to sit still in the frame. So one thing is I found the spare frame. These come in 3 packs, I think it is. The spare frame is actually pretty handy to rest this in for now, just so it doesn't pop up. Gives us a little space. So what I did was I hit this actually with a few little dots of hot glue so it would stay put. And then everything else is using some basswood from the craft store. So what you can do is measure and cut some little pieces to act as supports in there. So I'm just going to use a very tiny one. And what you want to do is cut that a little bigger than you need so that you can sand it down to perfection on one end or flex it a little bit to get it to set in there, or even put it at an angle. That's a little too long, so I'm going to grab some sandpaper. I'm just going to zoom out here just a little bit. And where have I hidden that little? I had a nice little scrap of sandpaper. Oh well, I have a big piece. So you can just work that until you get the size down, or you can cut it a little more precisely, but this way, as long as you are gradual about it, ensures you're going to get a nice tight fit. There we go. So I think the first one I did was so tight I didn't need to glue it, but you could use some wood glue or white glue even to set that in there. So as you can see on this one, I've got a couple of little pieces of wood holding it in place. And even though I have one across the top, we can still access the USB ports. So I cut a little slit in the top of the existing frame. So actually, I should say order of operations wise, do that first. And there'll be a guide that'll show you how to do this. So I measured one of my USB cables that I would want to use and just gave myself a little extra space there. And then just sawed with a back saw or miter saw, just saw that down into place so that you can slide that in without maybe breaking all the way through. And you can see I was able to rescue a little flap of the canvas there to kind of cover that over. And then you see I supported or reinforced it all with some more wood. So I'll put the measurements in the guide, but the basic idea is, let's see, I'm gonna pull out this miter box. I have a miter box screwed down onto my workbench to make it more stable, but I want to put that under the camera for you. So let me get this thing out of here real quick. Okay. And let me dump out some sawdust. Okay, so zooming out again, here is a miter box, and you want to put this up against the edge of your workbench because it has a little lip to it, and screwing it down or clamping it down is a great idea because you don't want this thing moving around on you. But the reason to use this is that you can cut 45-degree angles in whatever material you're using. Here's an example. Right? And having perfect 45-degree angles means that you can make a frame. If you try to eyeball this, it is incredibly difficult to mark and measure and cut a perfect 45-degree angle, especially when you compound the 8 of them that are going to be touching each other to make the square. So this is an inexpensive miter box from the hardware store, inexpensive saw. But you can see there, once you've made your cut, you can now, you'll do some sanding on that, you can now fit those and they're going to create a 90-degree angle when they are glued up against each other. So that's the key thing really, I think, in this. Unless you have a laser cutter or want to use 3D printing to make your parts, unless you're having a machine help you out, a miter box is a really great thing to help you make those cuts. I think there's even little X-Acto ones that are made more for craft things that have like a razor saw. Might be a good investment if you're doing a lot of miniatures type of work. So that is the little frame I made around here just to reinforce it and to give myself some more depth. So you can see the battery and speaker and all that are lower than this level, so it can be flush against a wall. The one thing that protrudes is these 2 wires, these silicone wires for the copper. Originally, I had done this where you could touch the front of the canvas, and the capacitive touch sensors on the hollow wing were receptive to the touch through the canvas, but you kind of get the canvas dirty, and you don't really want to encourage people to touch canvases. And I decided to make a frame, a very large frame on the canvas, so it obscured it anyway. So that's why I've got wiring and copper tape running to the sides. You could do this differently. So then there's this frame that I made for the front of it, and let me zoom in there. There you can see it. The idea behind this frame was I wanted to build a frame using sort of this stepped different widths and heights, so a tall, a low, a tall, a low. But I didn't want to look for molding. I don't know if I would find any that was appropriate size or the look I wanted. So what I did is I got a bunch of different widths and heights of this hobby store basswood and glued them together on a piece of paper. So you can see here's the buildup for that. Okay, this isn't exactly the ones I used, but you'll see the idea. So if you take, this is a really big one, half-inch square, I didn't use this. But if you place different heights of the basswood together and glue them down onto a piece of paper, you end up with something like this. I used that for mixing up some sawdust glue mixture. But there we have these 4 different sizes of wood, kind of glued just down onto a piece of paper. Then I cut them. So rather than cutting them individually and trying to get the sizing right, I kind of made this frame stock for myself by gluing the pieces down onto paper, let that dry, and then took this to the miter box to create this frame here. And you can see I didn't, it's a soft wood and I don't have a very fine saw, so there's some little gaps in here, but it is basically square because these are pretty much 45-degree angles. Where I had some gaps, I ended up mixing up some glue and sawdust. So as you're working and cutting, you're going to end up with a lot of sawdust, so I just used a bit of wood glue and sawdust to make a paste and then rubbed that into the cracks. Sanded it down, and then you can see I've hit it with about 3 coats of some gold spray paint to give it that museum gallery gold on wood type of look. And then I glued it all down onto a piece of paper, cut the center out, and then glued that onto our frame. So we get this kind of nice sandwich. It's nice and sturdy feeling, and you can power that on. It's got a battery in it, so it'll run without, there you go, without power, external power. Let's go backwards. Can we go to this one? Here's Van Gogh. Self-portrait by Vincent Van Gogh, dated 1889. All right, and so now to talk about the software a little bit, let me switch over to my desktop for a second. I know we are almost out of time. And hello again, it's me. So the software is some simple code actually that Kattni Rambor had written to test out the image library, and we talked about features. I didn't have to adjust it at all. It's sort of the basic example sketch works great for this. But all you have to do is pair up a BMP image file that's 128 by 128 pixels with a WAV file that has the same name. So I have Van Gogh.bmp and Van Gogh.wave. I have DaVinci.bmp and DaVinci.wave. The software just parses through, when it finds a BMP it can open, it just looks for something with that name .wave and plays them. So the other thing about it, as you could hear, I can play this again, the audio narration, rather than me reading these onto a mic, I decided to have the computer do it for me. So I'll put a little bit about that in the guide. You can certainly record your own voice into a microphone very easily, and we have some guides that tell you the specs for WAV files that play well on microcontrollers. I used a text-to-speech software that's just built into the operating system. I was running a Mac, and in the terminal you can literally type in the word "say" and then in quotes something you want it to say. And then with some flags, you can port that to, rather than just play it over your speakers, just dump those into a audio file. So there's a little conversion you'll have to do. It wants to write out AIFF files. But that is it. It's quite straightforward. And I can imagine a lot of different uses for this. This, I think, is really fun to do it as kind of a museum, mini museum, little desktop museum tour. Very easy to upload new images. So you literally just plug it into USB, drag on images. You can put old images into a folder. We got a lot of RAM on the HoloWing, so it's going to take a long time to fill that up. You got to have lots and lots and lots of BMP files on there. C. Grover in the chat said it'd be nice for family tree photos. This is very true. You could put family photos on here. You could do instructions for things on here. Come up with your own use. I'd be interested to see if you build one and have a specific use for how you want to use your slideshow. Share it with us either in the comments for the video or over in our Discord chat. That would be very cool. So let's see, that is the project for the week. So I'm writing a guide. I've been shooting photos yesterday. I've been writing the guide. It'll be out tomorrow, by tomorrow evening. So look for that if you're interested in building your own tiny museum tour device. And let's see, before we go, I just wanted to mention again, we have our job board. So if you are looking to hire someone or looking to be hired, please head on over to jobs.adafruit.com. And one more bit of business, there is our coupon code for today. So for today only, you can use Canvas, C-A-N-V-A-S, in the store, adafruit.com store, to get 10% off of everything that you want, except for subscriptions, gift certificates, and software. All right, well, with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for stopping by John Park's workshop, and I'll see you next week.